Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Marian Manco. Now we are following some breaking news, a developing story out of Montgomery County at this hour. We have confirmed that one person is dead and at least 25 more are injured. This happened in a traffic crash on Interstate 55. Illinois State Police say that a megabus crashed into a bridge support pillar on I-55. This happened in Montgomery County. It happened about 1:30 this afternoon, and we want to show you specifically where this crash happened. It's in the southbound lanes of I-55. It's just north of Litchfield, the Litchfield exit, and is south of Carlinville. Here's a look at some of the first images that we received from this scene. We're told about 30 ambulances actually responded to this scene right away. They were rushing people to hospitals from Litchfield to Springfield. Emergency crews could be seen climbing ladders to reach inside the smashed front end of double-decker bus. The crash shut down the interstate in both directions as first responders and state police accessed that scene. And right now we do have ABC News Channel 20's Liz Foster. She was among the first to arrive on the scene. She's live at ISP District 18 headquarters where a briefing just happened. Liz, what can you tell us?
Well, we are here at the district headquarters in Litchfield. This is where Illinois State Police asked all the media to come. Early investigation shows that a possible tire blowout is to blame for this fatal double-decker bus crash. Now, here's what we know. 65 people were on that bus or believed to be on that bus. That's including the driver. At least half of them have some sort of injury. 30 ambulances on scene. Helicopters were dispatched. And we can confirm one fatality. That victim, a woman whose name has not been released, she was actually sitting right above the driver on the upper level of the bus. Now, about a dozen of the injuries are considered serious. 5 to 10 are considered critical. And buses were also brought in to transport what's called the walking wounded. Those are patients who are injured, treated, and released. Now, when we arrived on scene, some of the most powerful images were of chairs hanging out the windows of the upper deck of this two-story bus. Ambulances lining the scene front to back, ready to carry away the critically wounded. Again, we know the bus was at full capacity when it slammed head first into a concrete bridge support. The bus was headed from Chicago to Kansas City with scheduled stops in St. Louis and Columbia. Now, right now, troopers are reopening the interstate in both directions. The wrecked bus has been removed, and the investigation here in Montgomery County continues. Reporting live in Litchfield, ABC News Channel 20.
Liz Foster, thanks so much. We really appreciate that. Now, we do know that there are 6 patients currently being treated in Springfield. That's at Memorial Medical Center. We do hope to have more on this with a live report from Memorial Medical Center coming up later on in the newscast. Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Marian Manco. One person is dead tonight and dozens more are injured in a charter bus crash along I-55 in Montgomery County. It happened around 1:30 this afternoon. It was in the southbound lanes of I-55 just north of the Litchfield exit. The accident shut down the entire interstate in both directions for several hours. ABC News Channel 20's Liz Foster is live at the State Police District 18 headquarters. She has the very latest. Liz?
Well, we have learned the one fatality is a woman. She was sitting on the upper deck of the bus right above the driver. And right now, she is the only confirmed fatality. Taking a look at the video, you can see why there are dozens of others who are injured. When we arrived on scene, you could see some of the seats on the second level sticking out of the windows of the bus. First responders had to use ladders to reach inside the smashed front end of the charter bus. We're told the bus was traveling from Chicago to Kansas City with scheduled stops in St. Louis and Columbia, Missouri. State police believe a tire blowout may be to blame, sending the bus out of control and slamming head first into a concrete barrier. We do know the bus was at full capacity, which is about 65 people, including the driver. We know at least half of them have some sort of injury. 30 ambulances and 10 helicopters were dispatched to the scene to help care for the wounded.
There were several victims. We set up a triage unit along with the fire department and EMS personnel. It was a very large scene. At any given time, at the heat of the incident, there were probably no less than 60 emergency service personnel between police, fire, rescue, helicopter personnel, ambulance personnel. It was a very large scene.
We're also learning of some heroic actions. Among them, an out-of-state emergency room doctor is credited with helping set up triage on the scene. She was helping treat the injured before first responders could even get there. The female doctor has not been identified, but tonight several families are thankful for her work. We're going to have an update coming up tonight at 10 o'clock on Nightside, and you can stay updated by visiting WICS.com. Live in Litchfield, I'm Liz Foster for ABC News Channel 20.
Thanks so much. And Interstate 55 is reopened at this time. The troopers removed the bus and they've reopened all the lanes. That happened around 5 o'clock this evening. The crash, of course, remains under investigation. And our coverage of this fatal crash continues. We now know many of those victims were transported to several Central Illinois hospitals, including those in Springfield. ABC News Channel 20's Andrea Marvin joins us live on the phone from Memorial Medical Center. Now, Andrea, how many victims are there? Do we know how many are in that location?
Yeah, Marianne, at this point, we know that 6 people were brought here to Memorial Medical Center, 4 by helicopter, 2 by ambulance. Now, they first got patients around 2 p.m. Hospital officials tell us that the 6 patients are currently being treated in the Memorial Medical Center emergency room, but won't comment on the nature of their injuries. Now, as for where the other victims were taken, we're told patients were transported to 4 different hospitals: Hillsborough, St. Louis, Springfield, and Litchfield. 6 victims were transported to the Staunton Community Hospital, and 4 to 5 more patients are expected to arrive there. But none of those injuries we're told are life-threatening. Now, here at Memorial, officials tell us they were never put on any kind of special alert, and there have not been any issues handling the incoming patients. We're live in Springfield. Andrea Marvin, ABC News Channel 20.
Glad to know that they're not life-threatening injuries. Andrea, thanks so much. And we're going to be bringing you any new updates on the crash and all the victims as we receive more information. That's going to be tonight at 10 on Nightside.
One person is dead, dozens more injured after a double-decker bus taking tourists from Illinois to Missouri crashes on Interstate 55. It happened around 1:30 p.m. about 5 miles north of Litchfield, and it was any traveler's worst nightmare. A megabus carrying about 65 people traveling from Chicago to Kansas City slams headfirst into a concrete bridge support on Interstate 55. State police believe a tire blowout may have caused the driver to lose control and crash.
There were probably at least half the people on the bus had some sort of injury.
One woman died. Her name has not been released. She was sitting on the upper deck of the bus right above the driver. At last check, 33 people were injured. About a dozen are serious and 5 to 10 considered critical. Authorities shut down the interstate in both directions for several hours. Passerbys could see chairs on the second level of the bus sticking out of the windows, and first responders using ladders to reach victims.
We set up a triage unit along with the fire department and EMS personnel. It was a very large scene. At any given time, at the heat of the incident, there were probably no less than 60 emergency service personnel between police, fire, rescue, helicopter personnel, ambulance personnel.
30 ambulances and 10 helicopters took victims to hospitals in Litchfield, Springfield, Hillsborough, and St. Louis. 7 people are being treated at Memorial Medical Center in Springfield.
We were fully prepared to accept these patients. They're currently being cared for within our emergency department. They're being assessed and treated as appropriate.
Among the many first responders taking care of victims was a hero who was in the right place at the right time.
There was an off-duty ER doctor on the scene from out of state who was traveling, and she stopped and she did a great amount of work helping triage.
At this time, all lanes on Interstate 55 are reopened. The crash remains under investigation, and officials from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration plan to work with local authorities.